How I retired early and stopped worrying about money. I'm Evan A. I retired early in Vietnam at 40 and now I'm in Da Nang, Vietnam a couple years later. So we're going to start with basically the moment I stopped waking up terrified, stressed out, worried. Because there was a time in my life when literally like every morning I had a knot in my stomach, not from bad life choices, not from hangovers or heartbreak or anything sort of dramatic like that, but literally just from bills. From straight up paying the bills. So the quiet, boring, relentless kind that sit on your chest like a fat house cat. You never worried about it, but they literally make you struggle with your breathing. Talk about rent hikes, interest payments, overdue notices, subscription charges you forgot existed, interest on student loans, inflation eating your paycheck like termites in the drywall. The kind when you wake up and before your feet even hit the floor, you're already losing yourself in your thoughts and your conscious, right? You're checking your banking app like it's a horror movie. You're opening up your day trading and your savings accounts and everything. And you're just basically trying to figure out the math that's better than a lottery ticket because it's still not working. So you cut things, you sacrifice, you grind harder. Somehow you still fall further behind. That was like Western adulthood for me. If it sounds familiar to you, I get you, right? Like it is just a treadmill and it only gets faster and faster and faster. It's a race where the finish line is literally just moving along with you. A salary that never outran the rising cost of simply just being alive. But then life did something strange, or at least my life did something strange. I basically caught a glimpse of what this could look like someone else, right? Like what waking up and not being stressed out could be like. And now I wake up to silence, to walks on the beach, to a cheap, perfect coffee on a balcony where nobody's trying to sell me anything, or demand money from me, or tell them I owe them shit, because I don't owe anyone anything. I am debt-free. I wake up slowly and on my own pace and whenever I want for the first time in my adult life. I don't feel rushed, hunted, I'm not worried. This isn't a humble brag, it's not a lifestyle ad. This is just a post-mortem of the stress that I used to have and I didn't realize was literally killing me. Because once I eliminated all those bills, the housing, the transportation, the healthcare, the groceries, once I cut my burn rate, my anxiety just like evaporated. Like it had been waiting for permission for years. This is the biggest surprise to me so far of retiring early, how much less stress I have. So here's the question I want you to sit with. If you could just remove like 70% of your anxiety, your stress, your worries, would you do it? And what would you exchange for that, right? Why haven't you already started? Next, I'm going to talk about car ownership. This is the silent wealth killer. It's awkward. It's the quiet assassin of your net worth, your car. It's not the fun part, the windows down, the music blasting on a road trip, smoking cigarettes, drinking beers or coffees, pretending you're still 22. I mean like the real car, the one bleeding you dry in the background like a leaky faucet with a gambling problem, repairs, insurance, gas, tires, parking, your social status and hubcaps, the occasional parking ticket because you misread a sign written by a municipal sadist. It never ends. It's death by 1,000 cuts in America when you're dealing with car payments, and every cut goes straight to your credit card. And the stress, oh my God, why? It's just not worth it. So what? So you can sit in your car on the way to work every day? Every new sound your car makes becomes an existential threat to your existence. You hear a clunk and you're instantly like, oh shit, is that going to cost me $600 or $1,600? Is that the belt, the brakes, the engines, or literally my hopes and dreams dying? Meanwhile today, my buddy in Vietnam had a problem with his motorbike, pulled over on the way to meet me for a coffee, literally walked the thing to a mechanic, and it turned out he needed a new fob. He got his fob swapped out. Here that cost $750K. Sounds scary. Turns out it's like $32, right? And the thing was fixed in a couple hours. You open the hood, stare at the engine like it's whatever, close it again and just pray, right? Commuting is the great Western scam. Because the only thing more valuable than the money you're wasting on it is the time. You sit in traffic, burning fuel, burning money, burning your actual lifespan just to get to a job that barely covers the cost of that actual commute. It's the dumbest, vicious circle loop humans have ever invented and been caught in. I mean, hamsters and rats wouldn't even tolerate this kind of stuff. Since I moved abroad, I've totally broken that spell, right? There's no car payments, there's no car, there's no repairs, there's no $100 oil changes from a dude who insists you also need new fluids. I walk, I bike, I hop on the back of a scooter for $1, and I get everywhere faster than I ever did sitting on the Gardiner Expressway or the 401, shout out Southern Ontario. Eliminating my car was literally like giving myself an $8,000 to $12,000 raise overnight. not metaphorically, not theoretically, actually. And the craziest part is that when I think about it, I honestly don't even miss it. Not the payments, not the stress, not the clunking noises. Which brings me to the next section. Healthcare fear versus having peace of mind. If you grew up in the West, you know this feeling, right? That cold little dread that hits your spine the moment you feel a weird pain in your body. The number of days, months, weeks I avoided doctors in North America, it's because back home, getting sick isn't just a health risk. It's a financial event, right? One ER visit can change your entire year. One ambulance ride can wipe out savings. One out-of-network provider can ruin your week, your mood, your credit score, your will to live. You walk in sick and literally walk out sicker because the bill is bigger than the disease. You end up waiting around for months for some minor thing. It turns into a major thing. And don't even get me started on employer insurance. You're basically held hostage by HR. Lose your job, you lose your health care. Congrats, you have 2 emergencies. Deductibles, copays, premiums, forms, denials, appeals. It's a casino where the house always wins, except the house also sends you a $900 bill or $1,000 bill to your house afterward. Out here, Southeast Asia, plug and play, cash in hand. You feel sick, you walk in, same day, you get treated instantly. You pay maybe $10, maybe $50. You go home, no paperwork, no billing department, no Kafka and a lab coat experience. Dental cleaning can run you $10 to $25. An x-ray, again, be $10 to $30. Full year private insurance, $500 to $1,200, depending on your age and how much you want covered. You can use my link below to sign up to Safety Wing for you. They get started for as little as $56 a month. They also do a Safety Wing Complete Nomad insurance, which covers actual expats living abroad. Shout out to them. The first time I went to a clinic abroad, I sat down, saw a doctor within 5 minutes, got medication in the same building, paid less than a dinner back home, and that was it. No forms, no anxiety, no insurance issues, no third party involved, no blood pressure spike because the bill instead of the condition was the issue. It was surreal. I actually walked out laughing, like, wait, that's allowed? That's it? That's all you gotta do? And the craziest realization hit me when I realized that healthcare is supposed to be about health, right? Not about insurance providers, not about financial roulette. Once I experienced real peace of mind here, getting around sickness and my anxiety of seeing doctors, I now literally go to regular checkups and dental appointments, every quarter, every 3 months, because I enjoy it. I like taking care of myself now because I can afford to. And nothing steals your freedom like that medical fear. It's literally making you live shorter by being more stressed out. And nothing gives it back like affordable care. So next I want to talk about this idea that minimalism is literally the anxiety antidote. So at some point in my Western adulthood, I realized my closet wasn't a closet. It was just like a museum of bad decisions. Clothes I bought because I was stressed out. Clothes I bought because I was bored. Clothes I bought because some algorithm convinced me I needed earth tones or layers that season or winter or whatever to become a better man, to keep up with my neighbor or my coworkers. And the worst part is I didn't wear most of this shit. At least not all year long, but I paid for all of it. And that's the anxiety that nobody talks about. The mental clutter of a life overflowing with things you don't need, but somehow feel responsible for. Every shirt is a reminder, every jacket is guilt, every pair of shoes is a story about a version of yourself you never actually became, right? Shopping becomes coping when you're doing this whole keeping up with the Joneses thing. You've got lifestyle creep taking over. Spending can become self-soothing. We all know about this. And your bank account eats the collateral damage. When I retired early and moved to Southeast Asia, overnight, my wardrobe became aggressively simple. Like a couple of Hawaiian shirts I never even used to wear that were sitting in the back of my closet for beach party days became my go-to, A few pair of shorts, 1, maybe 2 pairs of jeans, pair of sandals. If I'm feeling fancy, a backup pair. No seasons, no winter wardrobes, no $300 Canada Goose jacket because a groundhog saw its shadow. Just easy. And the weirdest thing happened. My brain got quieter. I literally just don't even think about clothes or style or dressing anymore. It's not on my mind. And minimalism wasn't some aesthetic choice or a Pinterest mood board for me. It was just adapting to a different lifestyle. It was relief. It was waking up and not having 30 unnecessary decisions to make before breakfast. Fewer clothes is just fewer choices. Fewer choices is less stress. Less stress, lower cortisol, better mood, more clarity. Honesty, getting rid of 80% of my stuff felt like taking off a weighted vest that I didn't know I'd been wearing. And I never think about this stuff. I don't even realize or remember anymore all the crap I got rid of. It's just gone, right? My life is just lighter. My mind is quieter. And I finally understood the math of early retirement, right? Less stuff, fewer bills, more peace, more time. Peace and freedom of time, once you've tasted it, is truly impossible to give up. So that brings us to our next idea, this idea of food and grocery chaos versus the simplicity of eating when you need to eat. Food is supposed to be joyous. It's supposed to be culture. It's a basic human pleasure, a little salt, a little spice, right? Something that hits the spot. But in the West, food has slowly turned into like a financial horror show. People literally are afraid of their grocery bills. They make TikToks and like short videos about it, right? You walk into Whole Foods for like one thing, an avocado, suddenly you spend $100 on a half a grocery bin. You do a Costco run, you feel like you need to pregame to survive the experience. Uber Eats, a $14 sandwich and somehow a $42 bill because you get a drink and a side. The fees are insane. They were invented at random by like a bored coder. There's also tipping culture pressure, which I know drives people nuts now. You try to buy a smoothie and the card reader guilt trips you into like funding someone else's retirement with a 20% tip on top of 15% tax. And worst of all, one bad grocery impulse can detonate your entire weekly food budget. You know, you want some artisanal cheese that you bought at 10 p.m. There it goes. Now you can't pay your internet bill. Food literally becomes stress for like normal working people, which is crazy. Cooking has become an obligation. Your fridge becomes a morgue of ingredients you swore you'd use. When you come to Southeast Asia, it's like the universe apologizes, right? Your breakfast, $1, $2, lunch, $2 to $3. A dinner, a nice one, out, $5 or $10. You want to splurge and feel like royalty, drop $20. That's for Western food too. Fresh food is everywhere. Street food slaps harder than anything you can make at home. It's freaking delicious. And there's no need to stockpile like you're preparing for a blizzard. There's no hoarding, no panic. No pantry out back, no shells of expired quinoa judging you. Eating stops being a financial event and becomes a social and cultural thing. It's just part of your day. Simple, delicious, basic. You sit on a plastic stool with the breeze in your face, bowl of noodles in front of you, and it hits you, right? This is what food is supposed to be. This is what meals should be about. This is human, a daily joy, not a budgetary battle. All right, next up we're going to talk about lifestyle concerns and the fear of missing out, the infamous FOMO. One of the biggest fears people have about leaving the West isn't about money, it's about their status. It's that quiet whisper, right? If I leave, will I fall behind? Will I ever be able to get back to where I am now? Will I be able to achieve what I've already achieved at home? The guy from your office who got promoted to senior assistant or whatever, what happens to him when you leave? Absolutely nothing, buddy. The friend who brags about his new Peloton or Porsche but hasn't been happy since like 2010. The coworker whose entire personality is their job title. We're raised on this idea that life is a ladder in the West. It's corporate bullshit. It's a lie. You climb it, you hustle, you network, you attend meetings about meetings, you get on fucking LinkedIn. Fuck LinkedIn. Sorry, Microsoft. It sucks. It's the worst. You collect promotions like Pokemon badges, like forget it. One day somehow you make it, except here's the uncomfortable truth bomb. You can't make it because you never be content in that system. There's no end to it. Most people are climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. You're gonna wake up in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s and realize you spent decades competing in a race you cannot win. It's impossible. There is no end point. There's no goal. There's no finish line. You weren't climbing, you were just complying, right? You're just being a fucking hamster or rat in a cage. When I moved abroad, something wild happened. I looked around and nobody cared what I did for a living. My identity was no longer bound to my job title, right? It's only with like you guys, Westerners who come over here now, who are like, so what do you do? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm a retired teacher. Like, nobody gives a shit. It's not how people define themselves, right? People here define themselves by family, culture. Nobody's grading you on your productivity anymore like it's a report card. Instead, I've made new friends. I've slowed down. I've started learning how to be present again, like actually seeing the world around me, not just doom scrolling through it or counting the numbers in the bank account or opening my index accounts and like looking at which stock prices are up or down. I've stopped comparing myself to every other over-caffeinated adult having a performative meltdown on LinkedIn. I'm done with that. And the funniest part, I didn't fall behind because I'm not in the race anymore. I've opted out. I've stepped off the hamster wheel, left the fucking matrix. I'm gone. When you're no longer sprinting in circles trying to impress people who don't even remember you and you probably don't even like, you will realize something. You were never falling behind. You were just running in the wrong direction, right? You're chasing your own tail. Leaving didn't cost me any status. It just gave me back my own life. Let's talk now about financial freedom and how that equates to mental freedom. So there's a special kind of panic that comes from living paycheck to paycheck. I knew it. I felt it for over a decade. You know it. That tight-chested stomach drop feeling when your calendar is full, but the fridge is empty. You have to choose between what you're going to pay. When your bills auto-draft before your salary hits, when you're doing financial geometry at 1 a.m. trying to figure out how to make $400 behave like $700. Western adulthood for a lot of us feels like being waterboarded by bills. Not drowning, just eternally almost drowning, just enough breath to survive, never actually truly living, never enjoying. That's why I escaped when I retired early. People here retired early or early retirement and imagine yachts and massages and sunsets or just being drunk on the beach. No, my version was way less glamorous and way more meaningful. I eliminated 80, or depending on the month, 70 to 80% of my fixed expenses. And with that, I eliminated 90% of my stress. No mortgage, no car, no insane grocery bills, healthcare that doesn't cause a financial stroke, rent that doesn't require a second job, and I don't have roommates or any short-term Airbnb bitchin' guests to worry about. Suddenly, finally, you get something adults in the West rarely experience: optionality and time freedom. The option to work or not. I may work again. I could if I wanted to. I just don't have to. It's the option to say no, the option to wake up and decide what you want from the day instead of what your bank account demands of you, what culture, society expect of you. Because when you're not being hunted by debt, everything else changes. Your creativity, your energy, your relationships, your patience, your ability to think long-term without your brain glitching from financial PTSD. And the best part nobody prepares you for is that feeling right here, waking up, stretching, taking a breath, and realizing I can change my life today. And I don't need permission from anyone. That's what financial independence, financial freedom actually is for me. It's kind of mental freedom or emotional freedom. So last up, let's talk about the true value of not worrying about money, what that actually means. For a lot of people, this can actually cause them to get a bit lost. So when you finally reach a place where you're not constantly worried about money, something strange or odd sort of happens. Time can almost like slow down or stretch out. It will, like, your days will actually feel longer. And like not in like a boredom waiting at the DMV kind of way. In a like your days and your time belong to you again. And the choice you have to make is like, what should you do with your time, right? Your mornings stop being chaotic. You're not waking up with a mental checklist of to-dos or disasters or things to avoid. You're not lunging from task to task like a caffeinated squirrel trying to outrun a dog. Your days get calmer, man. Your decisions get lighter. Your mood stops oscillating like a crypto chart. You're not on coinmarketcap.com every day. Without financial panic eating your mental RAM, you can literally just think long term again. It changes your neural network. You will literally think differently. You can dream again. You can be creative again. You can open up that expansive part of your brain that thinks like, what do I want to do for the next 10 or 20 years? You can make plans without whispering, I hope nothing goes wrong. Please don't fuck this up. Your health will improve. Your sleep will improve. I don't sleep very much at night. I've never been a guy who's able to get more than 6 hours of sleep a night. But you know what I do now? I nap. All the time, man. I'll sleep for like an hour in the middle of the day on a weekday. You're not snapping at your partner, your loved one as much because you're not fighting about money. You're not stressed about the little things. You're not avoiding your kids because you're exhausted from pretending to be okay. You finally can literally just feel like yourself again. Know who you are. Not the survival version, the real version. That's the real value of not worrying about money. You get to have your humanity back. Ultimately, I think I want to end by asking you one question. A question that for me changed everything, right? If I had to boil down this entire journey to one moment, it's just this, right? A quiet morning at the beach, a walk, my kids laughing with me, a coffee in hand, wind on my face, nothing chasing me, right? Nothing breaking, nothing due, nothing overdue, nothing past due, no dates to worry about, just the present. And in that moment, the question hit me. Simple, brutal, honest. If you could live the next 20 years with less stress, fewer bills, more joy, why trade that for 5 or 10 more years of corporate misery? Why cling to a life that's exhausting you? Why stay loyal to stress when freedom is an option? Why sacrifice years for a ladder you don't even want to be climbing? If any part of this resonates with you, if you feel the burnout, the panic, the quiet dread, maybe it's time to explore what life could look like out here, straight up now. If you want my help with it, check out my Move to Vietnam class below. It's everything you need to know to be successful in your first 90 to 180 days on the ground here, from healthing to housing to house care to dating, social, whatever. It's just gonna help you start planning your exit and figuring out if Vietnam is right for you. And then you can start escaping the stress spiral and get the fuck out. If you watched this video, it's on how to start over with $10,000 in Vietnam, or this one, it gives the background to how I was able to retire early at 40 years old. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Evan A.